in which you're a reader. So after number 1, we need a reader number 2, a reader number 3, 4, 5. And we'll try and give enough time to everyone. Maybe we can just go around and like you read a page or so. The next person reads. So that's that. Then I'll tell you about the chant now thing later on. So it's a part of a campaign which I'm happy with devotees to promote. So chant now is an initiative where we're trying to get as many devotees to chant one mantra, and it gets uploaded to the internet. And so you can record it on your phone. I sent a link on the WhatsApp group to a WhatsApp page where you can make a little video of yourself chanting Hare Krishna mantra. It's very easy to do. It's a WhatsApp video you make. Chant one mantra and then you send it. We can all do that together at the end. And then they're trying to get 50,000 devotees from around the world to participate in a chant. Because of course, Prabhupada said, the more people that chant around the world, the more times the Maha Mantra is heard around the world, or the more popular the Hare Krishna mantra is, it will increase the love and peace in the world, which is very much needed right now, isn't it? With all the events of the world right now. So,
Hare Krishna, Sachinanda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, can I ask you one question? Because I want to do this in my mentee groups, 2 mentee groups. How do I do it?
The chant now campaign.
Yeah.
So I've sent you a link on WhatsApp.
Okay.
When you click on that link, it goes to a WhatsApp group or a WhatsApp page, and on there you make a video and send it, just like you would send a video message or an audio message on WhatsApp to anyone.
Yeah.
So all it requires is that same link. You can send that same link. You can forward it to your contact, and they can click on it and make a recording too.
Oh, yeah. I thought I can do that. Yeah.
So we'll do it all at the end together. It just takes one or 2 minutes, and I'll explain it in more detail then.
Okay, thanks.
So before we begin reading, we've got a few volunteers now. We're going along the guidelines, because this is a reflective reading group. We're going along the guidelines of the principles of good sadhana, which is a link I sent a few weeks ago when we first started. So there was like 16 principles on here for good sadhana, or rather, sorry, good sadhu sangha. So it's nice to meditate on these and try and apply some of these during our sadhu sangha. So we'll read one each week, and I may send the link out again because it's been a few weeks and more people have joined. So I'll read the second one just now. So the second principle of good sadhu sangha is to discuss Srila Prabhupada's purports with other devotees. So that's principle number 2, because of course principle 1 was to read first of all. Without reading, then there's no sangha at all. Number 2 is to then discuss. So we're not trying to race read. We're not trying to get to the end of the book as fast as possible. We're trying to reflective read. So that means, let's try and pause and think about what we're reading, what it means to us, what it means to the wider society and the community of the devotees, what it means to apply the teachings that are given in that way. And also, what does it mean in terms of how does it connect to other aspects of Krishna consciousness and practice, and other aspects of philosophy and pastimes as well. So try and reflect on these things while we read, and share and of course ask questions. So this is principle number 2: discuss the purports with devotees. So before reading, we usually chant the prayer at the beginning of the Krishna book. It's a short little song, which I normally chant. I don't know if anyone else would like to volunteer to sing that. Otherwise I'll begin. Do we have anyone to volunteer for that one? Let's see if there's anyone in the chat room. Okay. So if everyone goes on the mute, then I can sing and you can sing along also. Yeah. so I'll sing from the Krishna, 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 Rakshamam. Krishna, 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 Pahimam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. Okay, so we'll begin reading. And our first reader is going to be Kirtika.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
He also further deliberated, a person who is too cruel, even in this lifetime, is as good as dead. No one likes a cruel person during his lifetime. And after his death, people curse him. On account of his self-identification with the body, he must be degraded and pushed into the darkest region of hell. Kamsa thus meditated on all the pros and cons of killing Devaki at that time. Kamsa finally decided not to kill Devaki right away, but to wait for the inevitable future. But his mind became absorbed in animosity against the personality of Godhead. He patiently waited for the deliverance of the child, expecting to kill him as he had done previously with the other babies of Devaki. Thus, being merged into the ocean of animosity against the personality of Godhead, he began to think of Krishna and Vishnu while sitting, while sleeping, while walking, while eating, while working, in all the situations of his life. His mind became so much absorbed with the thought of Supreme Personality of Godhead that indirectly he could only see Krishna or Vishnu around him. Unfortunately, although his mind was so absorbed in the thought of Vishnu, he is not recognized as a devotee because he was thinking of Krishna as an enemy. The state of mind of great devotee is always to be absorbed in Krishna, but a devotee thinks of him favorably, not unfavorably. To think of Krishna favorably is Krishna consciousness, but to think of Krishna unfavorably is not Krishna consciousness. Shall I continue?
So some wonderful points have been brought out here by Srila Prabhupada. Would anyone like to share something which they read which was outstanding? What was the meditation of Kamsa?
So Kamsa was meditating on Krishna all the time, Krishna or Vishnu all the time, but he was meditating to destroy Krishna. So he was the enemy of Krishna. So it wasn't done favorably. He was always thinking how he would be able to destroy him.
Exactly.
So, yes, he was absorbed, but not in the right state. It wasn't Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, so Prabhupada is saying on one hand, we always want to be thinking about Krishna. So this is wonderful, isn't it? That Kamsa is always thinking of Krishna. But actually, he's thinking of Krishna unfavorably. So that's not exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to remember Krishna always, but not unfavorably, but favorably. Yeah.
Prabhu, if somebody thinks of Krishna unfavorably, will eventually he not get Krishna's mercy even then?
Yes, a very good question. Would anyone like to answer that? The question was, if we think of Krishna unfavorably, would we still get Krishna's mercy? What thoughts does the group have?
There are examples that the demons were thinking of Krishna unfavorably, but at the end of, or they were killed by Krishna, so they got Sadgati because Krishna was there with them at the end of life. So Kansa and then Ravana, so those Hiranyakashipu, so they always thought of Krishna unfavorably, but at the end of life, they were they had Krishna's darshan. But I don't know whether it is right to think of Krishna unfavorably.
Ultimately, at least thinking of Krishna at the time of death, whether favorably or unfavorably, will ultimately be favorably. Does that make sense?
Okay. Anyone else?
As example of Putna as well, came to kill Krishna, but because she gave a mother love, gave a breast to feed her. He did kill her, but he gave a position of mother to him. Huh?
Yes.
Talent.
So she had a demonic approach to Krishna.
Hmm.
Still, she became liberated. Not only liberated, but she became Krishna's mother in the spiritual world, like a mother.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to point out, that even if you've thought of Krishna unfavorably, it becomes favorably to you.
Yes, so this question is actually also asked by Yudhishthira Maharaj to Narada Muni. He asks it in the way that how is it that Krishna is not partial to anyone? Because Krishna is the absolute truth. And how is it that he's not partial? How is it that he doesn't favor some people and not favor other people? That he doesn't favor good people and unfavor bad people. He's not affected by duality. So how is that possible? Yudhishthira Maharaj asks in this way. And Narada Muni replies by saying that Krishna, whether he gives you his chakra or whether he gives you his lotus flower, however Vishnu blesses you, however he interacts with you, it's a blessing either way. So you've given some nice examples like Putana. Narada Muni gives the example of Shishupal, So Shishupal, he's allowed to curse Krishna 100 times. So that's obviously a horrible thing, that he's cursing God constantly, and he's just constantly meditating on how much he hates Krishna. That was his meditation. And then what happened? The fact that he was even remembering Krishna and directly, it was indirectly glorifying him, because he was actually speaking about Krishna, not someone else. But the result of that was, after 100 curses, Krishna cut his head off. And before the audience there at the Rajasuya Yagya, Krishna showed that the soul of Shishupal went into Krishna's body, so he became liberated. So that was actually favorable for him, because if he had not done that, then he wouldn't have been anywhere. But of course, it's for our benefit that we want to glorify Krishna rather than curse Krishna. Krishna is transcendental, he's absolute. For him, it makes no difference at all. But for us, we want to please Krishna because it's in our interest. Yeah, very nice question, thank you. Is there any further comments?
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Yeah, Haribol. So I just had a slight different comment. I don't know whether that's true or not. Anybody who's thinking anemically about Krishna all the time is slightly different than a pure devotee who's thinking about Krishna all the time. The person who's thinking about Krishna anemically, their mukti is slightly different. It's Sahajya mukti, or they just go in Brahma Jyoti, or just somehow get into Krishna. But the other mukti that the devotees get is different, because they, when they die and they're thinking in devotional way about Krishna and his service and his devotees, they can serve Krishna when they die. That was my understanding.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's very important. Yeah, so it's even by remember Krishna unfavorably, we can be liberated, because the remembrance of Krishna in itself is purifying. But of course, it's beneficial for us to remember Krishna. Why? Because then we get a favorable relationship with Krishna. And that's what we want. We want a favorable relationship with Krishna. That's really bhakti, which is what Prabhupada is saying here. That we get a kind of liberation, we get a kind of eternal association with Krishna, which is pleasing to him. Mataji, would you like to continue reading?
Okay. At this time, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, accompanied by great sages like Narada and followed by many other demigods, invisibly appeared in the house of Kamsa. They began to pray for the Supreme Personality of Godhead in select prayers, which are very pleasing to the devotees and which award fulfillment of their desires. The first words that spoke acclaimed that the Lord is true to his vow. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna descends in this material world just to protect the pious and destroy the impious. That is his vow. The demigods could understand that Lord has taken his residence within the womb of Devaki in order to fulfill this vow. The demigods were very glad that the Lord was appearing to fulfill his mission, and they addressed him as Satya Param, or the Supreme Absolute Truth. Everyone is searching after the truth. That is the philosophical way of life. The demigods give information that the Supreme Absolute Truth is Krishna. One who becomes fully Krishna conscious can attain the absolute truth. Krishna is the absolute truth. Relative truth is not truth in all the three phases of eternal time. Time is divided into past, present, and future. Krishna is truth always, past, present, and future. In the material world, everything is being controlled by the supreme time in the course of past, present, and future. But before the creation, Krishna was existing, and when there is creation, everything is resting in Krishna. And then, when this creation is finished, Krishna will remain. Therefore, he is the absolute truth in all circumstances. If there is any truth within this material world, it emanates from the supreme truth, Krishna. If there is any opulence within this material world, the cause of opulence is Krishna. If there is any reputation within this world, the cause of reputation is Krishna. If there is any strength within the material world, the cause of such strength is Krishna. If there is any wisdom and education within this material world, the cause of such wisdom and education is Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the source of all relative truths. Haribol.
So here, Prabhupada speaks about different aspects of truth, right? Actually, this is a direct translation from one of the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam in this section in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the demigods start this prayer like this by saying that Krishna is absolute truth. So they say that Krishna's Satya Vrata, which means his vow is truthful. So they begin like that. And then other way they say Krishna's Satya Param. So they say that Krishna is the supreme truth. He's not. And in other words, they And another way of saying the same thing is that he's not Tri Satya, which means he's not relative truth, not relative to the three phases, not relative to past, present, or future. He's always truthful. And so they go on like this and explain in different ways how Krishna is truthful. And what it means to be truthful, there's nothing which can exist outside of Krishna. So truth in one sense, in a deeper sense, is synonymous with existence, because nothing can rest on untruth. If something rests on untruth, it's called illusion. So it's not real. Yeah. So Krishna says that any opulence we see in this world is a reflection of that eternality, which is true. I just wanted to elaborate on that a little bit. If there's anyone else who'd like to comment or question, otherwise we can continue. I think that might be Mataji speaking, but you're on mute.
I did. Yeah, in short, it says the Krishna is the cause of all causes. The Krishna is in everything and everywhere. Everything is caused by Krishna's. Would understand?
Yes. So actually, in the Bhagavatam section here, which Prabhupada is quoting from, the specific word used is that Krishna or Vishnu is the efficient cause. There's a technical term. It means that he is the cause of all causes. So we have an immediate cause for something happening. So that immediate cause is in Krishna. So we may have things happening around the world today, which are the result of certain karmic activities, which is the result of certain interactions with the material modes of nature, the material nature. So those are more direct causes of action. But Krishna is the cause of karma because karma is his laws, and he is the cause of the modes of nature. So therefore it's said that he's the cause of causes. So he's the efficient cause, he's not the direct cause. So we cannot therefore, it's mentioned like that so that we don't blame Krishna. Like, Krishna, why did this happen to me? Or Krishna, why is this happening in the world? Krishna has set up the world in such a way that if we want to act piously, we can act piously. And if we want to act impiously, we can also do that within the construct of the world that he's made the laws for. So that was my understanding about that. Should we move on to the next reader and maybe we can rotate around? Yeah? Okay. So Linisha, would you like to read?
Okay, yeah. This material world is composed of 5 principal elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And all such elements are emanations from Krishna. The material scientists accept these 5 primary elements as the cause of the material manifestation, but the elements in their gross and subtle states are produced by Krishna. The living entities who are working within this material world are products of his original potency. In the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that the whole manifestation is the combination of 2 kinds of energies of Krishna, the superior energy and the inferior energy. The living entities are the superior energy, and the dead material elements are his inferior energy. In its dormant stage, everything remains in Krishna. The demigods continue to offer their respectful prayers unto the supreme form of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, by analytical study of the material manifestation. What is this material manifestation? It is just like a tree. A tree stands on the ground. Similarly, the tree of material manifestation is standing on the ground of material nature. This material manifestation is compared to a tree because a tree is ultimately cut off in due course of time. A tree is called vriksha. Vriksha means that thing which will be completely cut off. Therefore, this tree of the material manifestation cannot be accepted as the ultimate truth because it is influenced by time. But Krishna's body is eternal. He existed before the material manifestation. He is existing while the material manifestation is continuing, and when it will be dissolved, he will continue to exist. Therefore, only Krishna can be accepted as the absolute truth. The Katha Upanishad also cites this example of the tree of the material manifestation standing on the ground of material nature. This tree has two kinds of fruits, distress and happiness. Those who are living in the tree of the body are just like two birds. One bird is the localized aspect of Krishna, known as the Paramatma. The other bird is the living entity. The living entity is eating the fruits of this material manifestation. Sometimes he eats the fruits of happiness, and sometimes he eats the fruits of distress. But the other bird is not interested in eating the fruits of distress or happiness because he is self-satisfied. The Katha Upanishad states that one bird on the tree of the body is eating the fruits, and the other bird is simply witnessing. The roots of this tree extend in three directions. This means that the root of the tree is the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Just as the three roots expand, so by association of the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, one expands his duration of material existence. The tastes of the fruits are of four kinds: religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and ultimately liberation. According to the different associations in the three modes of material nature, the living entities are tasting different kinds of religiosity, different kinds of economic development, different kinds of self-gratification, and different kinds of liberation. Practically, all material work is performed in ignorance, but because there are three qualities, sometimes the quality of ignorance is covered with goodness or passion. The taste of these material fruits is accepted through five senses. The five sense organs through which knowledge is acquired are subject to six kinds of whips: lamentation, illusion, infirmity, death, hunger, and thirst. This material body, or the material manifestation, is covered by 7 layers: skin, muscle, blood, marrow, bone, fat, and semen. The branches of the tree are 8: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. There are 9 gates in this body: the 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 1 genital, one rectum. And there are 10 kinds of internal air passing within the body: prana, apana, udana, uyana, samana, etc. The 2 birds seated in this tree, as explained above, are the living entity and the localized Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma. The root cause of the material manifestation described here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands himself to take charge of the 3 qualities of the material world. Vishnu takes charge of the mode of goodness. Brahma takes charge of the mode of passion, and Lord Shiva takes charge of the mode of ignorance. Brahma, by the mode of passion, creates this manifestation. Lord Vishnu maintains this manifestation by the mode of goodness, and Lord Shiva annihilates it by the mode of ignorance. The whole creation ultimately rests in the Supreme Lord. He is the cause of creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And when the world manifestation is dissolved in its subtle form as his energy, it rests within his body.
Okay, thank you. There's quite a big section there. This is, of course, the prayers of the Devas. the various devas of this universe praying to Krishna in quite technical terms, huh? So there's an example given of a tree here, which we read about. So what does that tree represent? Did anybody pick that up? Anyone catch that?
Does it represent material life?
Does it represent
Material life?
material life? Yeah, that's an aspect of it. Anyone else?
Does it represent the body,
The body.
human body, where the two bodies, as Paramatma and the Atma, are living in that body, and the three modes of material nature, we are bound, the body is bound and the mind is bound by that nature, and it's explaining about the 9 gates, which is part of the body.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Basically talking about the body and how rest of it is, like you see, the Atma, or the, you know, the person, the Atma is enjoying or is in distress, where the Paramatma is sitting beside all the time in that body, whichever body it is, and he's taking note of, well, not taking note of, but he's witnessing everything what is happening with the Atma. So these are the karma the Atma is collecting through mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. And so when you die, those karmas are what you, there is you know, the law where that is Krishna's law, which we have to repay if we are not, you know, doing good deeds in our life. That's my understanding.
Wow, yeah, you picked up so many of the points there. Very good. That's really wonderful. So does anyone have any questions or comments on this section? Or any further thoughts? So they're saying that nothing can exist without Krishna. Krishna is the cause of this material world, as well as the material body. I particularly like the point about the different types of fruits that the bird is tasting on the tree. I quite like that analogy for that reason. So, you know, the soul is in the heart, the self, which is experiencing everything which the body does and the mind does. It tastes different experiences in the world. So he says there's like these 4 kinds of fruits. There's 4 kinds of things you can experience in this world. You can experience religiosity, or you can say it's like morality, doing good things, learning about what is good and what is right and what is just and what is lawful. And experiencing another type of fruit, which is, you know, becoming wealthy and economically sound. Or a third one is sense gratification, enjoying experiences through the senses in this world. And then liberation. So, and then out of those different kinds of fruits, you get 2 kinds of taste. They either taste good or it tastes bad. Just like if you pick a fruit from a tree and you bite it, if it's not ripe, it won't taste nice. And if it's ripe, it should taste good. So these 4 types of fruits have good or bad taste, according to the kind of consciousness, the quality of the tree. Yeah? So the modes of nature determine the type of tree, or it determines the type of body that we have. If we have a body that we can experience the world nicely or not, in these 4 aspects. Okay. So we could have another reader now. So Jay Prakash. Right.
Okay. At present, so we stopped. Yeah. At present, the demigods pray the Supreme Lord Krishna is appearing just for the maintenance of this manifestation. Actually, the supreme cause is one, but less intelligent persons. Being deluded by the 3 modes of material nature, see that the material world is manifested through different causes. Those who are intelligent can see what the cause is what the cause is. 1. Krishna, as it stated in the Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sarva Karnanam. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the cause of all causes. Brahma is the deputed agent for creation. Vishnu is expansion of Krishna for maintenance. And Lord Shiva is the expansion of Krishna for dissolution. Our dear Lord, the demigods prayed, it is very difficult to understand your eternal form of personality or personality. People in general are unable to understand your actual form. Therefore, you are personally descending to exhibit your original external form. Somehow people can understand the different incarnation of your Lordship, but they are puzzled to understand the eternal form of Krishna, with 2 hands moving among human beings exactly like one of them. This eternal form of your Lordship gives ever-increasing transcendental pleasure to the devotees. But for the non-devotees, this form is very dangerous. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is very pleasing to the sadhus. Paritranya sadhunam. But this form is very dangerous for the demons because Krishna also descends to kill the demons. He is therefore simultaneously pleasing to the devotees and dangerous demons. Our dear lotus-eyed Lord, you are the source of pure goodness. There are many great sages who simply by samadhi or transcendently meditating upon your lotus feet and thus being absorbed in your thought, have easily transformed the great ocean of nescience created by the material nature into no more than the water in a calf's print. The purpose of meditation is to focus the mind upon personality of Godhead. Beginning from his lotus feet, simply by meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord, great sages cross over the vast ocean of material existence without difficulty. O self-illuminated one, the great saintly persons who have crossed over the ocean of nations by the help of the transcendental boat of your lotus feet have not taken away that boat. It is still lying on this side. If one takes a boat to cross over a river, the boat also goes with one to the other side of the river. And so when one reaches the destination, how can the same boat be available to those who are still in need on this side? To answer this difficulty, the demigods say in their prayer that the boat of the Lord's lotus feet is not taken away. The devotees still remaining on this side are able to pass over the ocean of material nature because the pure devotees do not take the boat with them when they cross over. When one simply approaches the boat, the whole ocean of material nescience is reduced to the size of the water in a calf's hoofprint. Therefore, the devotees do not need to take the boat to the other side. They simply cross the ocean immediately because the great saintly persons are compassionate towards all conditional souls. The boat is still lying on this side. In other words, one can meditate upon the lotus feet of Lord at any time, and by doing so, one can cross over the great ocean of material existence. Continue? Or...
Yes, please.
Meditation means concentration upon the lotus feet of the Lord. Lotus feet indicate the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But those who are impersonalists recognize the Lord, and therefore the object of meditation is something impersonal. Express their mature word that persons who are interested in meditating on something void or impersonal cannot cross over the ocean of nescience. Such persons are simply imagining that they have become liberated, O lotus-eyed Lord. Their intelligence is contaminated because they fail to meditate upon the lotus feet of your Lordship. As a result of this neglectful activity, then personalities fall down again into the material way of conditional life. Although they may temporarily rise to the point of impersonal realization, impersonalists undergo severe austerities and penance to merge themselves into the Brahma of Brahma effulgence, or impersonal Brahma existence. But their minds are not free from material contamination. They have simply tried to negate the material ways of thinking. That does not mean that they become liberated, thus they will fall down.
Okay.
In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the impersonalists...
Could we pause there?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So this section, so first we read about an example of a tree, how the body is like a tree, isn't it? So what is the example given here now? Did anyone pick up on that one and what it means?
Example of a boat and a devotee crossing the ocean.
That's right, yeah. So this actually is probably the most technical. I just say, like, this is probably the most technical part of the book. So don't worry if it's not so easy to follow, because the pastimes that follow will be much easier to understand. This is the prayers of the demigods before Krishna's appearance, and the prayers are quite technical in nature. So yes, it's the example of a boat and the devotee. So what does the boat represent in this prayer, in this example? And there's an ocean. So the boat is used to cross an ocean.
How we get out of the material world?
Boat.
How we get out of the material world and cross over to the spiritual, perhaps?
Yes, that's where the boat is going. What does the boat actually represent? What is the boat that devotees use to cross the ocean? What is that boat? Did anyone pick up on that one?
In connection with your guru to help you cross over.
The connection with your guru to help you cross over. Okay. There's a different mention here, but that's also, yeah, it can be looked at in that way. The guru helps you to cross the material world. What's the mention here about the boat? Did anyone catch that one?
So Krishna's lotus feet.
That's right, yeah. So in this particular text, it said that Krishna's lotus feet are like a boat which help you cross the material ocean. But they're not like an ordinary boat. So this is where it gets a little bit mystical. Because the type of boat that we experience is you catch a boat on one side and then it carries you to the other side of the ocean, and then the people who are left behind are stuck because the boat has already crossed. Or as they say in English, they missed the boat, right? So this boat, how is it different? Or how is the journey different? Did anyone catch that point?
Yes, it's on meditating on Krishna's lotus feet. So it's basically praying. We start praying as a neophyte devotee. We start praying from Krishna's lotus feet. So if you're meditating on Krishna's lotus feet, you're really meditating and praying to Krishna. And if you remember Krishna's lotus feet while you're dying, that will help you to cross the material world, material illusion, which is very, very hard to cross. It's like loads of ocean to cross. But because you're meditating on Krishna and remembering Krishna, that ocean, which is like hundreds of oceans of earthly oceans, will become like a small ocean, like a calf's footprint. So that water that we're thinking of crossing the material ocean will become like a small calf's footprint, which you can easily cross. So you're not really holding Krishna's feet, you're meditating on Krishna's feet. That was my understanding. So it helps you if you become like a pure devotee meditating on Krishna's feet, it will help you to cross the material ocean
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
to reach to Krishna's abode. But when you are a pure devotee, that ocean becomes like a calf's footprint.
Mm.
So my understanding is the boat is a kind of carrier, so carrier to the world of Krishna from the material world. If you are if you are covered with material desires and modes of passion or ignorance, that would be different to an ordinary boat, as opposed to someone who's as opposed to a pure devotee who deserves to be with Krishna. And so they don't even require the boat. They are allowed to approach Krishna by his mercy and don't even need any kind of carrier.
So the point here, yeah, is that this boat is unique, and the ocean which the boat travels on is also unique. And this is explained by demigods, who are obviously higher beings than us, and so their explanation is quite impressive. That this boat, if you can catch hold of this boat, if you can approach this boat, or if you can meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna. Prabhupada says real meditation is meditation on Krishna, specifically his lotus feet. So we've all been to the temple and seen how Krishna stands in this beautiful threefold bending form. Tribhangananda it's called. So his feet are crossed like that. We've seen that. And meditating on this form of Krishna, his lotus feet, the form of the deity, that meditation is actually what carries us to the spiritual world. And how? Because the material ocean, it shrinks when we capture Krishna's feet. Just imagine an ocean which shrinks to the size of the water which is in the hoof print. Like if a cow steps on the ground and leaves a print, hoof print, that little print where water is residing from rainwater, just sits in the hoof print of a cow. The ocean water shrinks to like the size of a water in the hoof print. So that's one process of liberation. So the demigods, they say there are different processes, but this process is the best. That if you meditate on Krishna's lotus feet, this ocean becomes like a hoof print, water in a hoof print. So this is the beauty of meditating on Krishna's lotus feet to help us cross this material nature.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah, I just have one question. Why so much importance given to Krishna's feet and not like other body parts of Krishna?
I think that this is a good question, and I think the right person to answer it is our attending pujaris here. So, Satyanarayan Prabhu, would you like to say something?
I'm just thinking. Yeah, what I can think, lotus feet of the body, feet of the body is all parts of the body are important, but lotus feet of the body is more important than other parts because the whole body is resting on the feet.
Okay.
So while you are depending on the lotus feet of the Lord, whole body is covered, all parts of the body is covered.
Okay.
That's what my understanding is.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Instead of focusing on just a hand and just a face and just a shoulder.
It's like a trunk of a tree. It's depend on the roots. If the roots are strong, then the tree trunk grows better.
Yeah.
And the leaves and that gets everything. So that's how it is. The lotus.
Thank you.
One more yeah. It's like for the boat lying on the other side, why it's still there? Because is it due to the compassion of the saintly people for them, those who are left behind, not attached to lotus feet of the Lord, to give them a chance to. Is that right? The last
sentence of that
last
paragraph.
sentence.
Yeah. I'm just
Conditioned souls.
yeah, so it said, therefore, the devotees do not need to take the boat to the other side. They simply cross the ocean immediately.
Because the great saintly persons are compassionate towards all conditioned souls, the boat is still lying on this side.
Yeah. I can't really comment on that one. It's beyond my understanding, if I'm honest. So if anyone else can add to that. I had one point to your question, Lanisha, also, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has written a prayer called the Shikshastakam prayer. Has anyone heard this before? Familiar with this before? Yeah. This is a prayer on how to chant Hare Krishna. So our practice is very much chanting Hare Krishna, isn't it? So what has that got in relation to meditating on the Lord? So here in this prayer, the Shikshastakam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishwame bhavambudo kripaya tava pada pankaja. Pada pankaja means lotus feet. Pada pankaja. Stita duli sadrisham vichintaya. So he says that consider me as a kinkara, as your little servant, and just consider me as like the dust of your lotus feet. So when we chant Hare Krishna, we're chanting on the Tulsi Mala, isn't it? The japa beads are a Tulsi Mala. Where do we find Tulsi? Tulsi decorates the lotus feet of Krishna. So in that way we can meditate when we chant as well on the lotus feet of the Lord. We can meditate where just like little dust particles at Krishna's feet. And we just want to have that opportunity to serve him, serve his feet, massage his feet, like that. So we're holding the leaves, the Tulsi beads. So that prayer is the Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram. Because Krishna is Nanda Tanuja. He is the son of Nanda Maharaj. So it's very specific about Krishna.
Okay, Prabhu.
Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah. Wonderful point also by Satyanarayan Prabhu. I just wanted to add a little bit.
Even when we take a darshan of the Lordship in the temple, there is a process to how to take a darshan. Because normally people, what they do, they look at the face first and then they go down. But we should take the darshan of the feet first and then go upwards.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yes, Srila Prabhupada mentions this point in the prayers to Queen Kunti. Because Queen Kunti is such an exalted devotee. She doesn't approach Krishna by looking at his feet first. She just immediately looks at Krishna's waist and upwards because she's an exalted devotee. But for us who has no connection with Krishna, we have to approach him with respect.
Yes,
and so we start with humility, we start from the feet.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Queen Kunti is on a different level.
Yeah.
Plus, doesn't he say because Krishna is her nephew, so she can't pay obeisance to Krishna. So she looks from the west on upward.
Yes, that's what Prabhupada mentions.
Yeah, that's it. One of the class I heard that.
Yeah. So she already has a significant relationship with Krishna.
Yeah. So Krishna says you can't bow down to me because you are I'm your nephew.
Yeah.
So, okay, but I can look at you through from your west upward because you are I know you are Supreme Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, so same time, Queen Kunti sees Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, not as a nephew.
Okay.
Prabhu, can I ask, when we take darshan of Sri Sri Radha Gokulanda, are we not supposed to approach it from Radharani's feet first and then to Krishna?
No, Krishna's first. You can pray to Radharani.
Oh, no, you can.
Yeah,
No,
no.
you can. But Radharani doesn't show feet, does it?
No, she doesn't show her feet.
Yeah.
So it says when you enter the temple, you bow down. So there you can say Radharani's name. And then as you look up, you have to look up from feet to up. Both of them, but
Okay, but
that's
Krishna
why that's why you have to bow down, so you don't look straight into their head, face, so that you bow down. So when as you raise up, you have their darshan.
Okay, but take darshan of Krishna first, then Radharani.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
I can find out.
I was told we can only approach Krishna through Radharani Shakti.
Yeah, that's true. But this, I will try to find out. I don't know.
Thank you, Mataji.
But even if you take the darshan of Radharani first, Krishna will not get upset. He would be pleased.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. That's what I'm
And Radharani's feet are not shown, are they?
Yeah.
Not seen.
But what I meant was you look towards.
Yeah. You just yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's continue then with Kirti. Reading next, please.
In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the impersonalist has to undergo great tribulation in realizing his ultimate goal. At the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also stated that without devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot achieve liberation from the bondage of fruitive activities. The statement of Lord Krishna is there in the Bhagavad Gita and in Srimad Bhagavatam. The statement of the great sage Narad is there. And here also the demigods confirm it. Persons who have not taken to devotional service are understood to have come short of the ultimate purpose of knowledge and are not favored by your grace. The impersonalists simply think that they are liberated, but actually they have no feeling for the personality of Godhead. They think that when Krishna comes into the material world, he accepts a material body. They therefore overlook the transcendental body of Krishna. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Avajananti mam muda. In spite of conquering material lust and rising to the point of liberation, the impersonalists fall down. If they are engaged just in knowing things for the sake of knowledge and do not take to the devotional service of the Lord, they cannot achieve the desired result. Their achievement is the trouble they take, and that is all. It is clearly stated in the Bhagavad Gita that to realize Brahman identification is not all. Brahman identification may help one become joyful without material attachment or detachment, and to achieve the platform of equanimity. But after this stage, one has to take to devotional service. When one takes to devotional service after being elevated to the platform of Brahman realization, he is then admitted into the spiritual kingdom for permanent residence in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the result of devotional service. Those who are devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead never fall down like the impersonalists. Even if the devotees fall down, they remain affectionately attached to their Lord. They can meet all kinds of obstacles on the path of devotional service, and freely without any fear, they can surmount such obstacles. Because of their surrender, they are certain that Krishna will always protect them. As it is promised by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, my devotees are never vanquished. Our dear Lord, the demigods continued, you have appeared in your original unalloyed form, the eternal form of goodness, for the welfare of all living entities within this material world. Taking advantage of your appearance, all of them can now very easily understand the nature and form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Persons who belong to the 4 divisions of the social order, the brahmacharis, grihasthas, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis, can all take advantage of your appearance.
Okay.
Shall I continue?
Let's just stop for a moment to see if there are any comments or questions. If you have a comment or question at any point, feel free to raise your hand on the participant view, on the participant box. You can raise your hand there if you have a question or comment anytime. Yeah. So why do the demigods go into discussing this, right? And in many times in Prabhupada's books, we read about so much emphasis on how the Supreme Lord is higher than Brahman, and how not to be caught up in the Brahman conception and impersonal conception. Why is this point emphasized? Can anyone say?
Hare Krishna.
Very well.
Yeah, I heard or read somewhere that you see the soul is always looking for enjoyment, and the nature of the soul doesn't stop like doing things or enjoying things. So basically, if you merge into Brahman, your desires don't stop. You see, you have those desires. It doesn't stop when you merge into Brahman. Although you're merging into Brahman and having all these joyful things, but your desires doesn't stop. So your desire and your creation, which is in the soul, that I want to do this, I want to do that, that sort of I don't know what the word is, that sort of thing doesn't stop. So basically what happens to anybody who is gone into Brahman, after a while they get bored, and then what they want to do something, and because of this reason they fall down. But if you are liberated to Krishna lok, you engage your desires, you engage your mind, you engage everything into the service of Krishna. So your mind is activated into Krishna and Krishna's service. So there is no chance of falling down, because you are enjoying in Krishna's service, doing various things like making garlands, making food for Krishna, whatever service there is. Your mind and your soul is engaged in the joyful service of Krishna. So whereas you are linked into Brahman, you don't have this, because you are just into that Brahma Jyoti, and there is not this activity available, and your soul, which is looking for happiness and is looking for enjoyment, is not fulfilled in Brahma Jyoti. That is what my understanding was, and that's something that I heard in one of the classes.
Yeah. Anyone else would like to add to that? Any further comments or thoughts? Yeah, I was thinking about how this is mentioned by the demigods because there are different levels of spiritual advancement. And so we have here the material world, and there we have the spiritual world, and they're separated by this Brahman, this effulgence. So it's kind of in the middle, right? And so when the jiva, or the soul, which is spiritual, the soul is spiritual, leaves the body, which is material, and leaves the material world also, as we read it, it travels, isn't it? The soul travels. We were talking about this boat. The soul actually travels through this material world across to all the layers of the universe, goes through all the layers of the universe, and then it crosses this Brahman, which is described to be like the ocean itself, or the Viraja river it's called sometimes. And then it goes into the spiritual world. And then even in the spiritual world, there are different layers, different planetary layers. There is like the lower layers where one is the servant of Krishna or Vishnu or Narayan, and then one is the servant of specific avatars, or one is the servant of Sita Ram, or one becomes the servant of Lord Chaitanya, or ultimately one becomes the servant of Krishna. So there's all these different layers as well in the spiritual world, just like there's different layers in the material world. And so the soul is like traversing all these places, and we have to have that attraction to Krishna to actually go all the way across the material world, over the Brahman, over all of the spiritual planets, all the way up to Krishna Loka. That desire has to be there throughout that journey. And so how do we, this life is meant for preparing for that journey. So that was my understanding. So that when we go across that Brahman, we're not thinking, material relief from material world. It's not, we don't want that type of liberation, that we're just relieved of all this material contamination, all this material conditionings. But actually, we want to go beyond that as well, and enjoy loving pastimes with Krishna. So I was just thinking about that. Okay. So we can have the next reader now.
Sorry, Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I quickly ask a question?
Sure.
Could be a very silly question though. So what you just explained, so does that mean all the souls who actually go to the lower planets, they have to travel through the Brahmand as well? So it's only when you cross the Brahmand, you either based on the quality of your soul or your karma, then you approach the higher planets or the lower planets. Sorry, it could be a silly question.
I didn't quite understand the question, sorry.
So so when
you're referring to the souls who are crossing, who are
to
becoming liberated, or
to the lower planets, the ones who go to the lower planet after leaving the material world, when they go to the lower planet as opposed to the higher planets. So how do they travel to the lower planets? Is it directly through the material world and then directly to the lower planets, or do they travel through, you know, via the Brahmand as well, or some other route?
Okay.
Sorry, it's a very silly question.
No, not at all. It's not a silly question. So there's different ways of explaining this, because Vedic cosmology is quite detailed, or the Vedic understanding of the universe is quite detailed. But Brahmanda is one term. It refers to this universe as being like an eggshell shape, you know, an egg shape. Brahmanda is like this egg shape. And within this universe, which we are in, one of many, many universes, there are all the 14 planetary systems, higher and lower. And we are on the middle planetary system, the solar system as it's called in modern science. But there are other systems above and there are other systems below. So for a soul who's going down, I think that was your question, they just simply move from one planetary system to another planetary system. They don't actually leave the Brahmanda. But for someone who is liberated, they actually, as I mentioned, go through all of the upper planets. Then they go through all of the elements which cover the universe, the coverings of the universe. And then they leave this universe altogether and cross over the Brahman, and then enter into the spiritual universe, as you can say, and then go up all the way to Krishna Loka, depending on the desire of the individual.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we're in one very small little universe out of millions. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, we got time for one more, I think. Maybe read another page. So the next reader is Sanjay.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Dear Lord, husband of the goddess of fortune, devotees who are dovetailed in your service do not fall down from their high position like the impersonalists. Being protected by you, the devotees are able to traverse over the heads of many of Maya's commanders in chief. who can always put stumbling blocks on the path of liberation. Dear Lord, you appear in your eternal transcendental form for the benefit of the living entities, so that they can see you face to face and offer their worshipful sacrifices by ritualistic performance of the Vedas, mystic meditation and devotional service as recommended in the scriptures. Dear Lord, if you did not appear in your eternal transcendental form full of bliss and knowledge, a form which can eradicate all kinds of speculative ignorance about your position, then all people would simply speculate about you to their respective modes of material nature. The appearance of Krishna is the answer to all imaginative iconography of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone imagines the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to his mode of material nature. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord is the oldest person. Therefore, a section of religionists imagine that God must be very old, and therefore depict the form of the Lord like a very old man. But in the Brahma Samhita, that is contradicted. Although he is the oldest of all living entities, he has his eternal form as a fresh youth. The exact words used in this connection in Srimad Bhagavatam are Vijnamam Ajnam Vidapamarajnam. Vijnamam means transcendental knowledge of the Supreme Personality Godhead. Vigyan is also experienced knowledge. Transcendental knowledge has to be accepted by the descending process of disciplic succession, as Brahma presents the knowledge of Krishna in Brahma Samhita. The Brahma Samhita is Vigyan, as realized by Brahma's transcendental experience, and in that way he presented the form and the pastimes of Krishna in the transcendental both. This knowledge as Agyan Vidapamaragyan Janam, that which can smash all kinds of speculation and ignorance. People are imagining the form of the Lord. Sometimes he has no form, sometimes he has form, according to their different imaginations. But the presentation of Krishna in Brahma Samhita as Vigyan, scientific, experienced knowledge given by Lord Brahma and accepted by Lord Chaitanya. There is no doubt about it. Krishna's form, Krishna's flute, Krishna's color, everything is reality. Here it is said that Vigyan is always defeating all kinds of speculative knowledge. Therefore, without appearing as Krishna, as you are neither Agyan Bida, the nescience of speculative knowledge, or Vigyan would be realized. Agyan Bida Parama Janam, by your appearance, speculative knowledge of ignorance will be vanquished, and the real experienced knowledge of authorities like Lord Brahma will be established. Men influenced by the three modes of material nature imagine their own God according to the three modes of material nature. In this way, God is presenting in various ways, but your appearance will establish the real form of God, what the real form of God is.
Okay. Thanks for reading that last section. Lots of Sanskrit words there, so I appreciate it's not always easy.
Sorry about that.
No, you did very well. So yeah, this I'll just wrap up quite shortly. Explains the reason for Krishna's appearance. Did anyone catch what that was? Why does Krishna appear? I'm just asking a question to the group, so anyone can answer if you got the answer there.
For our benefit.
Yes, for our benefit. But was there a specific point made?
So we can understand that Krishna is a person.
Yes, to understand that Krishna is a person. And even more specific than that, it was just there in the first sentence.
So we know what Krishna's, sorry. we know what Krishna's like. We know what God is like. He's not old. He's a young boy. Because everyone has their view on what God is like. But this is just to settle everything. This is what God is like.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you nicely explained it in your own words. Yeah. Like Krishna showing us exactly what he's like, to end all kinds of speculation. As Prabhupada puts it here in interesting terms, to answer is the answer to all imaginative iconography. Right? So that reminded me of that Sistine. You know, the Sistine Chapel has a painting. It's a famous chapel. Has a painting of God as a very old person, and he's reaching out, and so that, you know, that's an iconography of God, although that's not the exact description. So Krishna comes to give us exact description of his activities, his form, and so on. So it's a very unique literature, the Srimad Bhagavatam, or the Krishna book, in that sense. So now we'll wrap up with a small exercise for everyone, as promised. So if you want to grab your smartphone, I will explain what we're going to do now. Okay, my phone is here. So I just sent a link to our WhatsApp group, which I think you should all be a part of. If you're not, and send me a message because you're missing out. So on there, I just sent a link out just before we started this session to a WhatsApp group for love and peace. So we're going to do a little exercise and we're going to chant one mantra. It's really easy to do. Just chant one mantra. Yeah. And so the instructions are on there when you click on that link. Is anyone having any problem getting to that link? If you are, then you can raise your hand in the chat box, in the participant box.
Does it matter if we're logged into the Zoom call via the phone as well?
I'm logged in I'm on Zoom on my laptop.
Okay.
You can put Zoom away on your phone. It depends on your phone, I guess. Or you can do it afterwards as well if you are not able to do it.
Yeah, I'll do it after. Okay.
Yeah, you can watch us all doing it. So have you all got your phone with you? Has anyone got their phones with them? You're going to try this along with me? It's very easy. We're going to chant one mantra. So it says on here when you click on the link, so record a video of you chanting the Maha Mantra just one time with the following message. So you say your name and location, then say, I dedicate this chant for love and peace. And then you have Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please chant and be happy. And then you send your video recording on that WhatsApp group. Okay. So I think the way that we could do this is if we could all go on mute for a moment and have your phones in front of you, so we can all do this together. And we can all submit a video to this this wonderful cause. We chant now. I'll again send the link to where these videos are going, so you can see the tens of thousands of people who've uploaded videos along with us all over the world. Okay, so I'm going to put myself on, or maybe I should stay. Yeah, I'll put myself on mute so that I don't interrupt the sound on your end. And we'll all do the recording. Is that okay? Is anyone having any problems on that before we begin? Okay, so I'll take the silence as a yes. We'll just have a short recording of this. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, I'll just give you one more moment. I can see you guys are having a go at this. Thank you. Okay, so did that work for you all? Did anyone have any issues that you came across? I can see Pretty's got her hand raised. So I don't know if that was from before or not. Okay, so I found I had to flip the screen on my phone. There was a little icon that I was pointing it that way, the camera. I had to flip it around and then record. I don't know if anyone else had to do that. So, and then I had to press and hold the record button or the photo button on my phone. I think every phone's a little bit different, but I had to hold the photo button so that it would record and then say my recording and then let go. So that's how I did it on my phone just now, and then I submitted the video. Okay. So if you didn't get that now, you got the instructions there. Otherwise, just drop me a message and I'll see if I can help you further on. Okay. So we'll end here, unless there's any final questions or comments. And see you next Tuesday for more Krishna book reading. Thanks, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, David.
Thank you.